available. So clearly OMG have a plan, a strategy in place for FPX taking a Zeri. But I feel like it's one of those things where even if the enemy team has a plan, you're still going to pick that champion. It's just so busted right now.
Yeah, I will say Sivir and Yuumi are both open. I don't know if Abel and Cold will be willing to lean in that direction. Sivir has not really been a champion that this team has lent towards. Giggles on the faces of OMG. I don't think the Belveth will be locked in. I think that's just going to be a hover for now. But, you know, Sivir incredibly strong if you want to go for aggression. Oh, my days. A Tristana for Abel. We get to see the OMG bottom lane taking it straight to Lwx and Aux.
And this was like the old school counter that we saw to Zeri when she first got released. We saw people taking Nautilus because that point and click CC from the ultimate, and Tristana because you just, you know, jump on ahead and blow her up with the explosive charge. The concept here for OMG is they're going to try and bully Lwx out the lane, and FPX make a great adaptation, pick up that Braum, not only in theme with the Freljord with Lissandra, but the CC, the lockdown, and it makes it very hard for Tristana to ever stack up that bomb on top of Zeri.
Yeah, Braum can be so frustrating to play against for the Tristana. But Abel, I mean, he's been one of our Tristana players in the league. This is a guy that's known for playing Samira. He's got 6 games of Tristana across the course of the split already. So no stranger to the matchup. But with our mid laners locked in, with our bottom lanes locked in, it means this jungle pool can be pinched just a little bit. The Xin Zhao taken away from Aki. While it's been a fringe pick in the meta, it's been Aki's second most played across the course of the split.
Yeah, and for me, I think in terms of junglers remaining, Vi for OMG and Viego for FPX feel like the good picks for them. So we may see the opposite sides ban them. We've seen Ahri with Vi so many times because when Vi dives deep, Ahri can always be there to follow. And then for the side of the Lissandra Viego, that really strong combo where you get the frozen thralls and the reset. They actually go for the Pantheon instead. So targeting a bit more of that point and click CC, it does mean that Vi is available. I feel like OMG maybe could look towards a Viego ban themselves, but we'll see what they do with the last one. And right now, still, no real top lane is banned away apart from that Gnar that came in the first rotation. So a lot of options for both of these two. And we expected Shanji to maybe bring out something crazy. We do actually see the Gwen come out as a final ban, though.
And crucially, Summit will get counter pick, right? We talked about counter pick. The Vi actually locked in for FPX here, so denying OMG. But crucially, this will be the first Vi game for FPX for Clid this split. Over to OMG then. They need to go for a blind pick in the top lane, and they need to go for jungler. But look at the faces on OMG. Still big smiles. I'm loving the energy that OMG are bringing to the studio today.
Man, blind rumble. And I mean, it's Shanji. We kind of expect he's willing to do this, but still, the confidence, right? They've taken 2 top laners out the pool, and Shanji says, that's enough. Give me the rumble. Give me the team fighting power that we need. And now looking towards junglers for Aki, there are still things like the Trundle available, the Viego on the cards. You see him hovering over both of them. It feels like that will be the decision to make on which you'll go out of those.
Yeah, wanting a bit of early presence here, and the Trundle will be locked in. So good for the 1v1. Now, one of the clips we showed earlier on today was Summit on that Aurelia, managing to get solo kills against the Gnar. Now, it's a very good pick into Aurelia specifically. Whether or not he wants to take that into the Rumble will be a different question. But perhaps wanting frontline instead, because this is a relatively squishy team for FPX so far.
Yeah, and I mean, the Aatrox we've seen a couple of times here and there popping up, being pretty powerful if you can get onto your targets in those team fights, land those combos. We saw Xingqian play it for top esports pretty recently. But yeah, I mean, I feel like going up against Shanji, you have to expect the likes of the Rumble will come out. So Summit ready to respond with this. And I feel like ultimately a ton of team fighting power on both these teams, I think, is quite apparent. A lot of lockdown, a lot of potential to get fights rolling. But I feel like there is more pressure going to be on OMG in this one because they have that Tristana, whereas FPX have the scaling aspect of that Zeri. If you let that Zeri get fed, I think it's going to be really hard for OMG.
I mean, I feel like that statement is just true every Zeri game
statement,
in every league. Like, it's just such an insanely strong champion. So OMG, they're working it out. But I will say, if they could put FPX behind, statistically, FPX have not won a game this entire split when they're behind at 15 minutes. So perhaps the scaling pick being their crutch might not really be the best plan for FPX. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, I think at least they have tools to get the ball rolling, right? The bot lane I expect to be... I mean, I say this, even as I'm saying, I don't agree with it. I say the bot lane's going to be a bit more defensive, but I know Lwx and Hung, they will take any opportunity they get. They will be fighting 2v2. But it's a mid-jungle, finding the advantages there. Because in an isolated 1v1, a Trundle will beat out that Vi. the Vi and the Lissandra has such good lockdown onto a single target.
They certainly do. We'll see if they can find that lead. Clid and Care working together. Clid and Summit. They're up against Ahri and Shanji. They're up against Ahri and Creme. It's going to be a tough task for FPX, a tough task for OMG. But all I know is it's going to be a barn burner. Welcome to playoffs. Welcome to the LPL Summer 2022 playoffs. It finally begins. Our first best of 5 is here as it's OMG taking on FPX, both with plenty to prove.
Oh, what a series to start off playoffs. I think a big thing to take into account is the level 1. We have a Braum in the game. Whenever we see Braum, you got to ask, will we see some level 1 action? So powerful with that Winter Spite, with the stun passive as well, the concussive blows. And we see Cold slam down a ward quite early on to see if he can prevent any shenanigans from happening.
Right off the bat, I want to talk about, it looks like we're not going to get the level 1, right? So let's talk about the junglers. Let's talk about what the game plan has to be for both Clid and Ahri, because both of them have junglers that can be proactive in that early game.
Yeah, I think OMG, we typically expect, we talked about it, Ahri to be playing towards topside. And I think as well, when you have this Rumble with Ignite, you really do want to play with him. It's going to give you strength in the 2v2 where Trundle is already struck. Yeah, I love how they just flashed it. I was like, try and do something, you won't.
They're like, we know you know. We know. We just don't care.
Yeah, so this is even more emphasis on the top lane than even we typically see, because we're ending up with a bit of a map split where Ahri's going to be starting off in Clid's topside jungle. And this really means Summit's in a painful spot, because not only do you have the extra threat of the Ignite from the Rumble and the early harass that you can see with the Flame Spitter, but if you try and trade back in return, ample opportunity for Ahri to get in behind you. So that's kind of my expectation for how I see the early game going for OMG. For Clid, however, we often see him be a bit more responsive to what happens. If someone takes a bad trade, if a dive is set up, he'll look for those opportunities and care. I mean, this is the power of Lissandra.
Yeah, this is the power of Aki's pathing as well. Goes to the red buff and then straight down towards his bottom quadrant. So actually opting not to split the map in the end, and it will give Clid the opportunity to roam up towards that top side himself. So Shanji might need to be a little cautious there. He's very pushed up in the lane.
Yeah, but I feel like the plan for him is probably to go in for that blue buff, and I'm just interested to see how this pans out, because he has a thin window now, because I feel like Ahri, after he's done his red, he will beeline straight to his blue. So Clid has to make his mind up. Are you going top, or are you going for the blue? Because I don't think you get time to hang around for both.
Look at this pathing. Ahri is just going buff to buff to buff here. Takes both red buffs. Now wants to contest the blue that he just knows Clid will be on. If he can find the grub comes out once again. Can he get the smite here? Yes, he can. Finds level 3. Denies the escape. And now Clid being chased down in the jungle. There's no way Vi wins the 1v1. Shanji's moving over, as is Summit. We promised a barn burner. And what a way to start. Ahri flashes over for the 2v1. And he finds first blood.
Completely shuts Clid out the jungle and then just chases him down. Shanji was there for the cleanup, but wasn't even needed. And Clid, he is being run around by Ahri. Now, I mean, Summit, do you dare TP in here? I think it's so risky. He's gonna go for it. We'll see if they try and dive or they let him go.
I don't think they could go for the dive here. It's an Aatrox. I think it's too scary. They decide against it, but wow, what a start for OMG here. Straight off of the bat, pure aggression. Shanji now will spot Clid on the Krugs as well, so Ahri still playing with full information. Shanji's going to try and steal that Krug. Okay, not going to happen. Let's take another look, because this is just... the emote flashes from Ahri. OMG are coming in with Chad energy today.
Absolutely, they are bringing it to FPX. I mean, the fact he gets the blue is one thing, but honestly, this play probably wouldn't work if he didn't. He wouldn't have access to all his abilities. He gets the chase down power onto Clid thanks to the pillar, and then just flashes after him. And this is why Trundle is so strong in the early game. The power of that press the attack off the chomp, not only just doing a ton of damage, but also reducing Clid's AD, meaning there was no chance he could turn it around.
Big damage onto Hung here. The Unbreakable will do a lot of work, but Exhaust going to be popped. So a nice little find there. Cold did use the Ignite as well, but ultimately Abel and Cold putting pressure down in this bottom side. And that's crucial, right? They need to be winning that 2v2. We know both of these 2v2s incredibly aggressive, both happy to go for the 2v2 fights, but you can't afford to fall behind a Zeri.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you want to be finding windows where you can jump in and just all in every opportunity where Lwx is isolated. Right now, it's a bit trickier with the Braum there, but there'll come a point in the game where Hung goes for a Braum, right? Maybe it's for the first Herald. We see both supports move up, and that's where Lwx has to be super careful. You saw him there playing towards the wall. As soon as the hook came out from Cold, he went to leap over it with the E. Maybe a bit too over-eager because it left Hung out to dry. But ultimately, you can see that's how he needs to be playing the lane right now. We've seen Zeri countless times really spiking those 3 items. The time being, just trying to mitigate that laning pressure from the Tristana.
All right, Aux, I've got a riddle for you. AD carries are 1 CS apart from each other, but their culls are 3 CS apart from each other. Explain it.
Wards. That has to be it, right?
I think it's the bottom Scuttle Crab.
Maybe. It could be. It could be the Scuttle Crab. That could be a factor. It's something like that, right? It could be Wards, could be Scuttle Crab, could be either or. But yeah, not minions. I think it's the definite answer we get.
Cold is in trouble. Okay, good ward. Clid not pulling the trigger too early. As Cold is, because Aki's arriving, and suddenly OMG just go gung-ho on the play. Lwx does get over the pillar, though. A close one. But Aki can't quite do too much. Cares over the wall here. Blast Cone available. Are they going to find an opportunity onto Aki? Feels like FPX are a little more nervous to pull the trigger than OMG this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, which is surprising when they have their mid laner there, the Lissandra with the level 6 super powerful spike, and Creme wasn't there, and also is on low mana. He's still trying to make something happen. Doesn't go for the charm, so Cat can just claw away. But Aki gets what he wants. He gets the Scuttle Crab, and look at the CS difference that has opened up in this jungle. Clid really far behind right now.
Clid off the back of that level 3 play that we saw from Aki, off the back of that creative pathing, falling massively behind. Abel alone in the bottom side could be in a little trouble if he's not cautious, but on the Tristana, you can just push the wave and get back for yourself. So Shanji should be able to continue pushing in the top side, and it's feeling good for OMG. The lane's looking good as Aki moves in mid, and they burn a flash from Care. It feels like all 3 lanes are going beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, Shanji even using the equalizer here to clear out the wave, but also just pressure Summit. Already taken one plate. Care using the claw aggressively there, gets punished, and we do see a little bit of return in the bot lane, though. It's kind of what I expect. Lwx and Hung are the 2v2 who really love to find pressure when they can. And despite the matchup, Abel oversteps and they manage to get a decent amount of damage. But this is kind of the problem, is that as much as you can trade well when Abel and Cole jump into you, very hard to chase down a Tristana when you can just rocket jump away.
Yeah, Tristana, especially when on the concussive blows, it's very predictable when that stun will come up, right? So very easy to buffer that one. The one thing I will say, Zeri can proc it very quickly thanks to the autos and the Q, both being able to add stacks there. So interesting bottom lane matchup, that's for sure. But a 700 gold lead and a good start here for OMG. And I have to remind everyone, FPX, when they fall behind at 15, they've yet to win a single game all split long. As we are looking at 3 different parts of the map here, the supports, you can see Hung roaming as Shanji tries to make things happen up top. I feel like the Chinese casters must have been talking about something there for the 3 box to come out, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just more insightful than us. We do see the difference is that Hung started to move early, got a little bit of vision down, but Abel and Cold secure bot prior. If you look towards the minimap, we can see they've pushed the wave in deep, and they're now moving up towards the top side of the map. We're already seeing the Herald being started up, I believe, by Aki, so OMG want to make sure that they have enough members ready to move, but I think they've kind of made the call here. There isn't a contest coming out. Let's just stay towards the bot side of the map. What I love is that by Abel and Cold not showing up anywhere, and by doing this red, it means that Clid can't steal the red in return, but also they don't expose themselves to gank. They don't reveal where they are and show that they're ready to pick up this wave in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I feel like, honestly, this game has been quite a quiet one, and I think that's the nature of the fact that both teams are so proficient at being aggressive. Hang on, we've got a dive on our hands. Shanji going to be caught by the Infernal Chain. Summit using his Q, but that's going to be on cooldown now. The World Ender procced as Aki just moves in, starts to chomp on down. Pillar available here, knocks him back, but Summit dives on through. But even without a kill here, OMG can slam the Herald.
Yeah, absolutely can. With a Trundle as well, you take plates so fast. This should be a full tower take if they get it done in time, but Clid is moving over, and I think they might just have to back away from this one. They're still ready to take the 2v2, though. Even without the equalizer, the ignite from Shanji is so threatening.
Yeah, honestly, I don't blame them because that Ignite as well, giving the reduced healing onto an Aatrox. So it's a tough one for Summit in the matchup here when it comes to that 2v2. But looks like both junglers will back away for the time being. 2,000 gold lead off of just 1 kill so far. OMG just straight up winning across the map, winning CS leads, winning in plates, and just winning in terms of that jungle match.
Yeah, just being able to find those advantages, which is going pretty fantastically so far. Can't complain. And the fact that they got that plate in the top lane, they forced Summit away and forced Clid to respond, but then they don't use the Herald. Like, as much as FPX can defend that, they still have that looming threat, the Herald. So if any lane resets at a bad time, if Clid tries to go over aggressive, like let's say Clid tries to make a gank happen, and then immediately Ahri can just slam the Herald down on the other side of the map to get as many plates as possible. So FPX really going to be neutered a bit until that Herald comes down, and their job is just kind of trying to mitigate how much gold it's able to get.
Yeah, Hung caught by the charm here, but not too much more with the Unbreakable blocking the Orb of Deception there from Creme. You see OMG trying to fight for a bit of vision on the bottom side of this river. Drake obviously not coming up anytime soon here, but just fighting for control of the map. And I have to say, you know, fairly slow start to things. It's working out for OMG, but I feel like this is the nature of game 1 of playoffs, right? You can see that the players are a little bit antsy. OMG still happy to go forward, but FPX very much playing this one a lot slower than their regular split games.
Yeah, it feels like they haven't really pushed the same pace, but I think that a big aspect of that is Clid and also the bot lane. These are the areas I expect to see the most aggression in the early levels, and the bot lane matchup has meant FPX haven't really been able to find it more than what we've seen, and Clid also just being set so far behind has struggled to find opportunities, and it feels like Ahri has been the one who's constantly driven the pace of this game.
Summit up here on the top side in a 2v1 once more. As Ahri just moves in, helps push this wave. You can anticipate that the Herald is going to go down this time. Clid and Care moving over as fast as they can. And I feel like maybe Aki's sort of overplayed his hand this one. Won't get an opportunity to go for the Herald again.
Yeah, so FX did a really good job to respond. And that's fantastic, right? You're stopping them from getting the full tower top. But every time you move, Care is losing farm. He's about 20 CS down as of this point. And Ahri still can't just throw this Herald down mid if he wants to and get a couple of plates here. It's still going to be a fine scenario for OMG, but it also means that Kara has just lost out for moving to match the Herald leans that we've seen so far.
In the meantime, all in on the bottom side. Abel exhausted. Knock up onto Lwx though as Hung taking the brunt of the damage from Abel here. Lwx steps up, but just gets chunked himself. Aki's moving in from the side here. Low health bars on both FPX bottom laners. Hung desperate to finish his recall. The pillar comes in onto Lwx, but Clid is here. And Ahri realizes he has to back away, but OMG will win the trade. They get an opportunity for plates.
Yeah, they can really do some damage with this Tristana, although the Ultra Shock Laser comes out, and I think the threat from Clid might be a bit too much. So we'll be able to mitigate, and Clid is doing a good job of putting out all these fires across the map, slowing OMG down, but it is still OMG gaining these advantages. I have to say, I'm not surprised Lwx and Hung went for that all-in, just knowing the nature of those players. But Abel already had a Kraken Slayer completed, and Lwx had no Mythic, so definitely felt like a bit of a risky play to go for when you have that extra true damage coming in. But ultimately, they don't lose their lives. But a lot of summoners burn, and also some CS missed off. And now we're going approaching that 15-minute point, and OMG have a 2-minute lead. And as we said up before, FPX have a 0% win rate when they go into that 15-minute point with the deficit. They have never won a game this split when they'd be behind at 15. So it is not a super positive omen. I still think that compositionally, right, they have a Zeri. That should be okay. But how the team has handled these things before, it does make me nervous for them.
I will say, Aux, it kind of goes both ways though, doesn't it? Because OMG's mid-game has left something to be desired this split. They've had quite a few games where things have gone a little bit sideways in the mid-game. And I feel like there's a very real chance that over the next 10 minutes, we start to see this game get real aggressive from both sides, get real action-packed, and some big decisions will be made that could lead to massive leads on either side. Clid trying to go for an invade here, sorry. But looks like Creme will be able to block him, get a bit of vision down. Summit was moving over as well. Summit roaming down as Drake is about to spawn here. Care escapes.
Yeah, and I mean, we see all of FPX moving to try and make a play. Good poke onto Summit, but now Negate's coming in.
Abel jumps away. Cold Anchor, max range there, but will be caught up and finished off. Good pick from FPX. It's answered in the mid lane, but the charm goes wide. And it means OMG cannot answer for the pick.
Yeah, but Summit chunked with nothing left. It means he's not in a great position to fight. Oh, they're going for the tower.
Certainly are. Tower low here. Equalizer down. They're just going to burn through. Clid 1-for-1 in the fight now. As Care chased down by Creme and Shanji. Big damage though to answer. But Shanji flashes in. He ain't stopping for no one. Rooted though as Care slowed now. Shanji trying to close the gap. He just can't seem to get on the Lissandra though. As Summit threatens Creme in the meantime. It's 2 for 2 in the game. As Creme now trying to escape. Good Everfrost. Hung roaming over as is Lwx. But I think OMG get away with it.
Oh, just about. But now Cold is back on the map. Both junglers going to be spawning in a second. And the Dragon was the main aim there. Both teams trying to find those picks, trying to get the ability to take that neutral objective. And now we kind of get a bit of a reset coming back in. But a lot of tools are available. A lot of ults down to set up for this Dragon now. Summit just ends up going over aggressive. And this is really unforced because he steps up, right? He's the one who goes for the aggressive trade. When his team are making a play and they're finding a pick on the bot side, you should just play it safe. And that gives the confidence to OMG to go aggressive. Now, I will say this tower survived way longer than it should, which kind of led to Aki's demise. But Shanji's doing so much damage here onto Clid.
So FPX off the back of all of that will have control enough to go for a second Drake. Crucially, 2 Drakes in a row for them, trading the early gold lead that OMG have had from focusing on the Herald and on towers for the first 2 Drakes, and they're rewarded because it'll be a Hextech Soul. Hextech getting that massive buff per Drake here. And also, I mean, the Soul didn't need a buff, let's be honest. The Hextech Soul was already plenty good enough. So FPX with a Zeri and a Hextech Soul potentially on the cards, I'd say they're in a pretty good spot looking towards the later stages of the game. But they have to defeat that statistic that we keep on parroting. They have to win from behind, which we've never seen them do before.
Yeah, but I do think that the fact they have 2 dragons gives them their best chances yet, because OMG, they can't really threaten Soul as a win con. You are so far away from a Dragon Soul. By the time it's even on the cards, Lwx is certainly going to have 3-4 items and just be a menace. So they need to keep pushing the pace of the game, and they can't be making mistakes. They're going aggressive here, and Summit is waiting. I don't think he sees a window yet.
Won't find a chance to go in on the mid lane there. You see Shanji moving down to the bottom side. I want to point something out that's going to be very, very important later on in the game. Care having Spellbook and TP, Summit having TP, nobody on OMG has access to a TP. So very, very important factor. Later on when it comes to playing for side lanes, that lack of TP really could bite OMG in the bottom.
I think as well, even when we look at how teamfights might break out, it's going to be very difficult for Shanji to find himself onto the backline easily. Sometimes just being able to TP in is the greatest option to just appear on the enemy backline. Whereas if Shanji tries to approach a flank, it's so easy for Clid or Care just to say, okay, you're dead, right? Point and click CC, can't really outplay that. So does mean that I feel like OMG need to be really careful with how they approach fights, because we see windows like this. Care is looking for a flank.
FPX finally being proactive. Cold the target once again picked off, but they want 2. They want to double up. Aki the target and taken down. The 5-man squad of FPX take themselves an advantage.
Yeah, 2 kills on the board from that one, really closing the goal gap. And now looking towards that mid lane tier 1. I think OMG are going to be able to defend this, but they might look for a bit more. Nope. Care doesn't follow the claw. The wave gets played out. So still a real big positive for FPX. They get the 2 kills, but they aren't able to translate it into anything more.
Trying to find presence on the map, right? Trying to turn it into more, but Creme and Abel, no respect. 2v4, they're winning these trades hilariously as Shanji moves over with Equalizer in pocket. You know that you have to fear that Rumble. You know that Equalizer will do more than equal things.
And I mean, this is just the power of Lissandra combined with the Vi, right? Goes over the wall. They end up putting like the basic CC, the Everfrost on the root on the cold. But they know Aki is a tankier target, a bit harder to take down. So both ults committed onto him, and they have enough damage to finish him out. So really nice pick coming through. And I was saying OMG need to make sure they aren't making mistakes. That definitely was one. And we're looking at that dragon in 2 minutes. That will be the first dragon after Baron is spawned. What OMG want is they want a massive teamfight win where they end up having enough members left that they can just go and do the Baron. That is the ideal scenario for them from here on out. Because I feel like if they start to lose more fights, if they lose this next dragon in particular, things will look really dire for OMG in this game 1.
Oh yeah, they absolutely will. You do not want to lose that potential soul point right to FPX. And OMG, you can see that they know that. They want to pick on the bottom side. Summit in all kinds of trouble. Does have his flash available, but I don't know if Flash is going to save you with a 3-man goon squad moving down to body Summit. He's Aatrox, though, in a 1v3. That's a lot of sustain available, but he burns to a crisp nonetheless. Ahri taking a bite out of the barbecue.
Yeah, really nice play, really nice pick set up by OMG, and perfectly timed because Baron is only just spawning now, so FPX have no chance to respond with it, no chance to even threaten it, and it means that they can throw down the Herald as well on the bot side and get that tower on top of it. So OMG doing a little bit to open up that gold lead once more.
There are pings. There are pings on the tier 2 coming out from OMG here. Okay, looks like they will back away in the end. I wasn't sure if they were going to really hard commit to try to get a tier 2. I was excited. I'm ready for so much to happen in this game.
Oh, well, Joey, 30 seconds until our next dragon. I feel like that is going to be the moment that we are looking for. I think they were just trying to go for the next charge, but Clid can just clear this Herald out and stop it from getting it. And now Reset's coming in, but this is so late. Bear in mind, it's a Hex Tech map, which I'm just going to say is the best map in the game. They have the Hex Gates to fly in quickly, but both teams are going to be very late to this dragon. 8 seconds away, and this one is so important. I expect this to be a full 5v5. You can see everyone already moving over and trying to posture. Creme trying to hold this triangular vision they have here.
Yeah. Creme looking for a pick. Abel gets mid priority, but FPX, they don't care. They're just going to allow that wave to die. The wave does not matter to FPX right now, and I can't say I blame them, because Soul Point is on the cards. Double control ward in the pit for OMG, as well as one behind the pit, but Summit on a flank now. Creme wants to find a way in.
Yeah, he has seen this control ward. Oh, he has to be so careful.
There goes on Everfrost each here. Creme still has his ultimate available. Holding on to that one. Creme not to be deterred here. Does not want to use the cooldowns. Did have to cleanse out of the play. Still holds on to his ultimate. This feels tense, Aux. How does each team win?
I feel like it's all about... Oh, I mean, they're going.
The hook comes in, equalizer in the backline as well, but Summit surviving for now, and Shanji can't say the same. Abel, aggressive upon Cold is down, and FPX handily winning the fight here. Abel and Creme alone in the world, forced out of the play here, but Lwx, he wants to keep this ball rolling. Flashes forward, wants revenge for the lane phase, and Creme chased down, zapped down, and FPX come alive.
And there's your answer, Joe. Just like that. That's how they win the team fight. 5-0. OMG find no momentum. And FPX get the cleanup. They have Lwx picking up the kills at the end. And I said OMG wanted a clean team fight win so they can get a Baron. And FPX will be the ones rewarded. We'll see a replay of that. And ultimately a lot of damage on a Summit. But he's so hard to pin down. And look at Care just beelining in. They instantly delete Shanji. Abel doesn't even get a chance to auto because he's instantly caught out by a Vi. And at that point, the fight's already lost. And you see Lwx like, right, this is go time. This is my window to clean up these kills.
I love that from Clid as well, right? Like you say, just shutting down Abel at the start of the fight, and then just full retreat. Flashes into the pit, keeps himself alive. So literally not even using Vi for damage, just using Vi as this CC bot to stop Abel having any say in the fight. Massive moment for FPX. For the first time in this game, they're the ones with the gold lead. 3,000 up now,
no.
And a potential pick onto Shanji as well. He has flash, but he's in a 1v3. This will not go his way. Equalizer down, but it's too little too late.
I mean, as well, I just feel like the fact that there's nothing you can do there. Even if you have flash, Care holds the ultimate, Clid holds this as well. You're just dead. And now with the Baron, going to be really hard for OMG to defend against this push. And I said, I feel like you have to be so cautious about FPX getting to the point where Zeri has 3 items. Look at that inventory, Joe. Infinity Edge finish for Lwx. If you get caught by an Ultra Shock Laser, that's like 600, 700 damage. It's disgusting.
It is absurd. It is so terrifying, and it's something that OMG have to be cognizant of. Now defending in the base. But against these Baroned up waves, it's going to be a tough one. And I have to say, Care on this Lissandra has had a fantastic game. It's only his second Lissandra game of the split, but it fits the FPX MO so beautifully, right? The roaming has been perfect. The setups for these fights have been perfect.
Look at the confidence here, though. 4 members of FPX, they're happy to leave Clid in the mid lane, letting the Baron minions do the pushing now.
Oh, what a pick! What a pick onto Ahri. How do they even find that? OMG should not be getting caught by a play like that, and now FPX, they could just move in, and it looked like it was going terribly. It looked like too slow of an early game for FPX, but now blowing this base wide open. And OMG left wondering what on earth to do.
I feel like it's just desperation at this point. They need someone from FPX to overstep so they can land a charm, a dredge line. Oh, they try it, but they don't manage to connect, and that's kind of the window gone. Okay, you missed. Say goodbye to your base.
Creme does have one Spirit Rush charge left, but he'd be putting himself in harm's way and does not have flash available. So it will be FPX backing away. Crucially, no inhibitors actually taken. So the pressure won't increase, but also the amount of farm going to OMG won't increase either.
Yeah, they won't just get to pick up those waves for free. And honestly, for FPX, I feel like taking bot mid inhibitor wouldn't make that much of a difference, because the next objective I'm looking to is that dragon in 2 minutes. It will be Soul. Hextech Soul for their composition is disgusting, especially Zeri, because you get the chain lightning on your ultimate that kind of connects to everyone. You're also going to get that from the Hextech Soul, and it's going to slow. It's so frustrating to deal with. So I think OMG are in a desperate spot. They are 7,000 gold behind. And they need to find something. They need to find an avenue. And honestly, I was saying the Dragon's next objective. FPX like, no, we're going to go for that top tier 2.
Yeah, Dragon's up in a minute and a half. That means we've got a minute and a half of taking towers to the top side ahead of us here. Straight onto the tier 2. You see Abel still in the mid lane trying to clear those waves. So it's difficult for OMG to do too much clear. But without the Baron, it will be doable. There's Creme there on the Ahri. Able to clear waves. It looks like FPX decide, okay, let's not push it too far. Let's still play this one safe. We've got ourselves a lead. Let's finish in style. 60 seconds on that Hextech Soul for FPX. We've been talking about the 2,000 gold lead that OMG had just about 5 minutes ago. Well, it's now 7,000 for FPX. What a ridiculous swing.
Yeah, massive. And I feel like I'm struggling to see the avenue for OMG. They really need to just connect onto Lwx or maybe onto Summit and just be able to burst through them. But this is just going to be so much harder because look at the inventories. Stopwatch for Summit, stopwatch for Lwx, already a Zhonya's for Care. Even if you manage to land an equalizer on top of Lwx, he's going to be able to stall out most of the damage. But OMG, maybe they look for a pick. Maybe that's the angle. But they need something, because if they give over this dragon, the game is just done.
Grouping up Care could be the target here. If they can find him, it'd be huge. Goes into the play, turns golden, and instantly able just about one-shot. He's in the middle of everyone and taken down by the lightning clash. And FPX now, with a gold difference and a half, can just clean house. FPX, they lose the early game, but for the first time this split, they don't care. A triple for Lwx and a win in their first game of playoffs. FPX are here to make a statement.
And it just looks so much better. This is a team where we've seen them struggle with some of their team fight setups. We see them struggle from behind, and they managed to pull out in this one. Great turnaround when they're at a deficit. Great ability to find the fights at a pretty convincing game one start. Remember, Joe, we all said this was probably going to be a close series. FPX really making a statement in this game one.
Yeah, tentative in the early game, but crucially, they just denied the early game, right? It wasn't necessarily tentativity. Is that a word? Tentativity? Tentativeness?
It is
It
now.
wasn't necessarily them being timid. It was them denying the plays from OMG, not giving OMG those early fights that they crave. And then once the mid game comes around, that's when FPX strikes. So phenomenal game. And I have to say, a stark difference to the regular split from FPX as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the thing, is that we haven't had much time off between the the end of the split and playoffs. But you got to bear in mind that like FPX's last opponent was WE. I feel like as well, just you've had time to prepare a bit to focus on this matchup into OMG. And clearly they feel confident. They feel confident in the carry potential of Lwx on the Zeri. They mitigated the pressure. And as much as Clid got put behind in the jungle, we can't dispute that. Ahri had a really strong early game. Remember the fact that Clid was just like, okay, put out a fire here, put out a fire here. You know, douse some flames over there. It really stalled out. And so despite the advantage that OMG had, it was only a 2,000 gold lead. Maybe if that was a 4,000, 5,000 gold lead, we wouldn't see them be able to fight their way out of that. So I think they did a good job quenching that aggression and found their way back in the game.
And also, speaking of Clid, like after such a great start in the jungle for Ahri, Clid falling so far behind. When it came to the team fights, like the difference between Clid and Ahri was night and day. Clid just every single fight diving onto Abel, not allowing Abel to play the game. And I mean, the gold graph is just a perfect way to exemplify what happened this game, right? FPX at about the 20-minute mark just come alive.
Look at the damage though. Like, I know Lwx obviously did a lot in the last couple of fights, but I feel like when you have that much damage, you expect it to be like a constant build up over the game. And it kind of feels like nothing really happened, and then suddenly Zeri. And I feel like this is why you can't leave this champion open. OMG clearly had a strategy with this Tristana Nautilus. I'm just going to say, it's game 1. It's a best of 5. It's fine. You've let Zeri open, and you've realized that was a mistake. But I don't think they do that again this series. That champion is just a bit too bonkers to give over once again. And Lwx showing that if he gets 3 items, that's all he needs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Abel, I'm sure, could do the same on a Zeri, but he didn't get a Zeri. So maybe you needed to ban it instead. And this is why I love Best of 5, because now we can enter that conversation of how do the OMG bans have to change? Because they wanted to ban the Lucian and the Kalista, because they don't want Lwx to have the aggressive AD carries either. But do you have to then start going for 3 AD carry bans? That feels like a risky game to step into.
I mean, all I'm going to say is they could have first picked Zeri, right? They decided not to first pick Zeri because they had this strategy in place and they weren't able to execute. You know, they opted instead to deny the Ahri from Care, which I think has its merit, but I think it's clear that despite the nerfs that we've seen several times in a row, Zeri is still bonkers. And I'm glad we had this game to learn that lesson.
Zeri is still an extremely strong champion. I don't know who could have seen this one coming. We're going to jump into a break, but what a treat. What a way to start our series off. We'll be back with game number